Got one of these in to play with, not very exciting. A Toshiba Vestel. I think it's a 50 inch, could be a 49 inch, but give or take an inch, it's a 50 inch. And I can't remember, well, the customer is guessing that it's a backlight issue, but these have been so problematic, certain models. I mean, in this style, and I'll just scroll down again so you can see the bottom, but in this classic Vestel Toshiba style, because this is a Toshiba design, but Vestel have just borrowed it under Toshiba's permission, just to make it look a little bit different. I don't think Hitachi's had this kind of white circle LED thing here. But there were three different types, three different model numbers. One had a very dodgy screen. The panel would fail after about 2 years. It could be this one. Plug it in a second and see. One had blue backlights, which is repairable. And the other one had a backlight failure because there was a cap on the power supply on the LED driver side that would always fail. If you got to it in time, it would stop corrupting the driver as well. So it could be any of those three. I mean, what can I do? Can't tease you anymore. Let me plug it in. I think it's here. Okay. The cable's trapped underneath a bit. Ooh. Okay. I've had this TV in for quite some time and I just haven't got round to plucking up the courage to get it done. I need to bring it up here a bit. It's not got a massive cable on it. Anyway, we're on. We've got a flashing standby light, as you see. Oh, that's right. She said it does this. So it comes up with a Toshiba logo and then it goes off. Now this is the first time it's been switched on in ages. Standby light is still going. It's looking like a firmware issue. No, oh, I thought it went into standby then. Yes, it's looking like it's a firmware issue again. Still going. Yeah. The firmware is gone. Looks like the backlights are okay. Looks like the screen is okay. Mainboard jobbing. I'm not going to flash the firmware on these. Pointless. Whatever caused it to go will make it go again. So complete different. What usually happens if the firmware has disappeared, because a lot of people always say to me in the comments, oh, just flash the firmware, just update the firmware, you'll be fine. You are fine for a time. Whatever caused the firmware to go is a problem on the main board. It could be a dodgy SMD cap, could be a resistor, it could be anything. But whatever caused it to go will make it go again. And it could be within a week, could be within 6 months, but it will go again. So I always replace with a new board, brand new board if I can get it. Most of the times I do get brand new Vestel boards, but this is probably going to be a little bit too old now to find a brand new one. A friend of mine used to deal in them and had loads of them. Let's just have a look at the model number. Right, hopefully you can see that. 49V586, is that right? I'm reading it off the screen, same as you. 3DDT, no that can't be right. DBT, okay. I'll give you a close-up of that just in case you didn't see it. I'm going to moan now, and I hate the fact that I'm moaning because I used to work with an engineer that would moan. About 10 years ago, there's an engineer that would moan if customers brought their TV in to be repaired and left on the wall mounts. He hated it. Tell them not to bring wall mounts, tell them not to bring stands in, and we don't want the remote controls either. And I've now turned into that person. Okay, stacks of screws got to come out. There's a bank of screws here and screws all around, so give me 5 hours. Nothing much to see. 17 IPS 72. And what is this? A 17 MB? Is that 1909? Doesn't mean anything to me, that. Once upon, I'm going to put my glasses on. It may help. 1909. What was I talking about? Without my glasses on, I thought that was a 1909, and it's actually a 1305. Oh, that's not bad, actually. No. No. So I'll accept that. So this is actually, no, it's not that one. It's this one. This cap can swell up sometimes, but it's not. It's all part of the backlight circuit. Because, of course, I thought it may be a backlight problem, but it's not a backlight problem. It is a firmware problem, and I don't know if it's that chip or that chip. I can't remember. It could be that one. Well, do you know what I'm going to do, just for a laugh? I'm going to freeze both of them, put some ice on both of them, and just see if that wakes it up. I don't know if you can see the light flashing there. Yep, you can. And I'll turn some lights off just in case it helps. So that's got the logo coming on, the Toshiba logo. Oh, it's not going off now, it's stayed on, so maybe freezing that chip has done it. Or maybe the backlights did stay on before. Maybe they did, yeah. Okay. I thought the backlights had switched off, but it's not. It would have been the picture that switched off. That's frozen the chip. But it's still flashing away. I mean, even if this worked, I've still got to get a new board. I may have some of these in. I'd be surprised if I haven't. But I will have to go looking tomorrow. But that doesn't mean anything to you, because it'll be instantaneous. Give or take a bad edit or two. Let's have a look at the number on the board. Two 3495631, or just make sure you get the board for the correct screen, because I'm sure they use this board in other Vestel models, but it depends if you want the Toshiba logo at the startup. Okay, well, I've just typed in that 23 number that you see at the top, and it is that 23 number, and look what it's returned. It's returned absolutely nothing. So maybe that tells us it's a very common fault. and eBay doesn't have any. So if we're not going to get any with the 23 number, we're going to have to type in the screen here, which means we'll probably find a board that will work, but it won't have the Toshiba Splash logo. So here are the Vestel boards that work with the screen. It does say it's a JVC, so this will probably have a JVC Splash logo. So we're looking at 20, 30 quid. I'm going to have to double check with the customer that they don't mind. I mean, the apps are still going to be the same. One thing Vestel did comprehensively put together eventually is a decent apps package in the end, and they all had the same on, and they all had pretty good apps. I don't know if Vestel ever got Disney in the end. Did they? Possibly they did. I would have thought they would have had to have done, but anyway, I'm not too sure. I will double check that this has got the LG screen in it. You can see there where it says the LC 490, is it EQY something? Again, I haven't got my glasses on, sorry. It's got a different 23 number, but it's got the connections right there, look. So that is okay. It's got the HDMI's there, and it's got the output jack rather than RCA's. It's got the two USBs. It's got the HDMI there. Yeah, it's exactly the same board. This will work in this screen. I'm 99% sure. It'll just have a JVC. I may have to go for this, as long as the customer doesn't mind it having the JVC logo at the beginning. Apart from that, everything else is the same. You can even put your own logo in. We must do that one day. We must find an older TV that we can erase the bin file and we can put in our own logo. But anyway, that's a job for a different day. I'm going to go to my lockup first and see if I can find a board. And just before I call it a night, you're probably screaming at the whatever you're watching this on, iPhone probably. Check the model number of the TV, which I didn't do. I just went for the board number and the screen. So I typed in the number and look, we're getting nothing. No main boards available for this model of Vestel, which shocks me, but that's got to be a reason. The reason is got to be faulty, so maybe we've got to do a JVC anyway. Okay, so it's another day. I've just been down my unit of spare parts to see if I can find a board that's got same or similar connections, just to let me know and confirm that it is a mainboard problem. I'm just going to freeze this frame here so you can look at the mainboard side by side. It is not an identical mainboard. It's not even the same number, but it does have the same input and the same screen connection. Not that I'm going to plug the screen in just yet, you understand. But it's got different HDMIs, the antenna, the aerial, and the satellite are all in different positions, so I wouldn't be able to use this if it worked, because everything's in a different position, as I say. But just to test, just to see if that red and green light, which I'm guessing is a firmware issue again, just to confirm that it is the main board and the firmware on the main board rather than it being a power supply issue, I might as well just temporarily swap it over. It's not going to cause any harm, and all I want to see is if it stops flashing red and green and it comes on. So the two sockets there, they are exactly the same. So the screen here plugs in, same plug, same socket, and also for the input from the power supply, they are exactly the same. So we can give it a test. I'm not going to screw this board in. As we've mentioned earlier, it's not an identical fit. So just for now, I'm just going to plug the plugs that I need to go in, which is everything apart from the screen, just to see if that error code, which is an error code, whenever firmware fails on a Vestel, they flash red and green, or sometimes non-stop green, or sometimes non-stop red. Anyway, I've just protected the boards from shorting out and touching each other with a cloth. So let's plug this in, focus in on that red light, and let's see if let's see if it's going to come on. I mean, it'll bring the backlights on. I'll just bring the camera closer up, and then I'll switch it on. Plug it in here. So we've got the red-green as we've seen before, but is this main board going to settle, and is this main board going to be okay? I'm guessing it's got to be. And it is. Yeah, there you go. So it's turned red now. So we know for sure that it's definitely the main board. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I know what you want me to do. You want me to plug the screen in so you see what the picture's going to be like. Well, you see, technically the TV isn't mine, it's a customer's. But as the customer is a friend, I have got in contact and I've asked, and they couldn't care less. If it goes bang, it goes bang. But I did explain to them, it won't go bang. It's not even going to cause a problem on the screen. But more than likely, the colours are going to be mush, or the picture is going to be upside down. Bearing in mind the TV is upside down at the moment anyway. No buttons on the set, especially with this new board in, so it's a remote control jobby only. Panasonic wouldn't work it. I'll put the model number of the Panasonic TV it came from in a second, but I've managed to find a Vestel remote that does. Turned it on. So hold your breath and let's see. And look at that for a lightning turn on. It's actually fine. And of course the picture is upside down, which it's supposed to be because the TV is upside down. So actually, this main board works for this screen. I will leave all the numbers at the end just in case. I mean, it is not a fix because, of course, I can't put the back on because the aerial, the satellite, the HDMI is in different positions. It won't work. But if you just wanted to get your TV going and didn't want the back on, not that I recommend that, of course, but it's better than throwing it down the dump, I will leave the details of this Panasonic 55-inch Vestel board. I'm not too sure which one it is yet. I'm going to have to type in the 23 number on eBay and find out what board it's actually, what screen and what TV model Panasonic it's come out of. I mean, this is a better... it's a better board. It's going to have better apps. Well, I think it is. Maybe they're all the same these days. But I've just got a funny feeling that it may have a few different extra apps. But it does prove that the main board is at fault. I can't get an identical replacement. I'm going to have to go looking for that JVC. Let me just find out what model number Panasonic TV this is from, because I didn't pay attention when I took it out of the broken TV. Hang on there. Okay, trying to help you here, but I'm getting nowhere. I've typed in the 23 number and the 101 number of this main board on eBay. I know I took it from a Panasonic 55-inch. Which one, I don't know. I may have to do a bit more detective work. But maybe by giving you these numbers, that will help. Remember, it's not an identical main board. This is the main board number. It's the 17MB185, which is completely different to the Toshiba, but it turns the Toshiba into a working Panasonic TV. The only thing you can't plug into it is the Wi-Fi card from the Toshiba, so you're going to need to buy the Wi-Fi card from the Panasonic as well. But it gets the TV working, if you don't mind struggling to get the back on. Obviously, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to find either the correct one, or I'm going to go looking down that route of the JVC, because at least the back will go on with that. And just to confirm that it's possible, this is the screen number that's actually on the screen. Not the VES number, but the actual correct screen number. I'll just flip it around, you can see it. LC490EQY. And if we go back to the earlier eBay listing, we'll see that the JVC LT has a screen on it, and it says LC49EQY. You can see that on both the top one and the bottom one. So 100% now that this board will work with that screen. It'll just turn it into a JVC. You may get a JVC splash logo, or you may not get any logo. I'm not sure. I'll have to order it because I need one for a customer. I'll let you know how it goes on. Thanks for watching.